Do you think it's possible to spot someone who you just know is going to be incredibly rich and successful one day? Like, even if they're poor and starting with nothing right now, there's something about them that makes you feel like they're going to hit the big time. Most people can't spot those traits. I mean, if they could, they'd make sure they had them too, right? If you can spot who will be successful, then you can surround yourself with them and feed off their vision, success, and drive. Few stories show this more than entrepreneur Gary Vee's endorsement and coaching of Grammy Award-winning artist Doechii. When he first heard her music and saw her homemade videos back in 2021, he said she had something special, even though at the time she was making music in her bedroom with no connection to the industry. He said she had talent, drive, and unique artistry that success demands. And he was right. This video isn't just about pointing fingers at who will or won't succeed financially. No, it's here to help you see the habits, mindset shifts, and subtle behaviors that determine whether you'll build wealth or stay stuck. So let's dive in. Number 1. These people seldom drink, smoke, or party. Now, people who end up rich, they've got a different relationship with pleasure from the start. They don't drink heavily, they don't waste time partying, and they don't rely on smoking or any kind of quick escape. It's not because they're boring or disciplined for the sake of it, it's because their mind is locked into something bigger. When you're obsessed with building something, distractions lose their appeal. Late nights, mindless fun, and anything that dulls your focus starts to feel like a setback. The people who become wealthy aren't against pleasure, no, they just see it differently. Instead of chasing highs that fade fast, they invest their energy in things that create rewards for them. In almost every story of self-made millionaires, there's a period of extreme focus. They're working when everyone else is out partying. Wealth builders see themselves as people with something important to do. And when you believe that about yourself, it changes what you find fun. Number 2, they talk about money as freedom rather than what they can buy with it. Now, people who become rich, they don't talk about money the way most people do. They don't get caught up in brands or expensive cars or flashy purchases until they can actually afford it, until their assets pay for it. When they think about money, they see freedom. They see the option to walk away from a bad deal, to say no to things that waste their time, to never have to answer to anyone they don't respect. Most people never make that shift, though. They see money as a way to buy things that impress other people. They work harder to afford a lifestyle, and the more they make, the more they spend, which keeps them trapped. Self-made millionaires break out of that mindset early. They understand that when you're building wealth, you have to focus on needing less just as much as you focus on wanting to make more. The less you have to depend on a paycheck, the more power you have. When money becomes a tool to create space in your life rather than fill it with distractions, then you know your perspective has shifted. That's when you know that you'll keep getting richer because you've learned to focus on freedom and control. Number 3, they're very comfortable with inconvenience and discomfort. Think about this, okay? How much do you spend every month on making your life comfortable and easy? You buy expensive sheets because they feel good. You use a healthy meal delivery service because it's easier than cooking. Or you buy a car to get you to work because the public transportation takes 20 minutes longer and you don't want to walk back and forth. It's fine if you want to spend your money on those things, but you should know that you're creating a broke mindset. Now, broke mindsets choose comfort over investing that money to make it grow. And the need for comfort and convenience compounds the more you allow yourself to rely on it. So you'll never be satisfied with what you have, even though you tell yourself that after this purchase, life will get easier and then you can save. Yeah, as if that's gonna happen. Either you get comfortable with inconvenience now or you stay broke for the rest of your life. Number 4, they've got this blind belief in their ideas and plans. Now, future millionaires don't let doubt creep in, and you can see that. It can be jarring listening to someone speak with so much conviction because it's not possible to know that anything will 100% succeed, and yet this person has no problem guaranteeing that. Listen, okay, belief is not a fact. Obviously, they know that nothing is certain, but what's the point in focusing on that? It's not going to get you anywhere, okay? Using belief as a tool is more valuable for success. Deep down, they definitely have doubts, okay? But you can kill those doubts by fully committing to something. That's the only way you can get other people on board. You have to lie to yourself, basically. You have to tell yourself that your idea will be successful and that your doubts are unnecessary. Belief isn't based on knowing for sure that something is going to work. It's based on knowing that they will make it work. Number 5, a luxury lifestyle just doesn't appeal to them. Now, people assume that anyone who gets rich must have wanted luxury all along. But that's not how it works. The ones who actually build wealth from nothing don't dream about fancy cars or designer clothes. Luxury isn't what drives them. They care about control. They want the freedom to wake up when they want, to work on what excites them, to walk away from something that doesn't serve them anymore. Spending money just to show off never even crosses their mind, okay? While everybody else is chasing symbols of success, they're focused on actual success, like building something valuable, solving problems, gaining leverage over their own life. If you want to be rich, you can't afford the capacity to prove anything through material possessions. That's going to slow you down and eventually totally derail your plans. Building wealth is far from glamorous or luxurious. All of that comes much later. Number 6, they start lots of small ventures and they don't sweat it if they don't work out. You know those kids in high school who sold secondhand sneakers or started their YouTube channel even though everybody laughed at them? They're far more likely to be rich and successful now than the ones who were laughing, okay? The earlier someone starts random small businesses, the higher the chances of their eventual success. And sure, they learn a lot from starting small and making mistakes, but that's not the main reason they eventually become successful. It's clear that these kids just think differently. They're way ahead of the curve when it comes to understanding the power of money. While other teenagers chase popularity and attraction, they hone in on making money even when they don't need to because their parents are still responsible for them. Those are the people to watch out for. Number 7, they think in decades, not in days. Read any book about wealth and you'll see this come page after page. It's easy to gloss over how important it is when you hear about it all the time, but when you meet someone who thinks like this, you'll understand just how different they are. Their conversations are all future-focused. They don't gossip, they only touch on what's happening in the world right now, and they talk about how it might affect their future. They've chopped the branches and moved the debris to create a clear path to the future they want. So it's easy to talk about it because they've walked this path in their minds 1,000 times by now. Can you talk about the next 5 or 10 years like you've already reached that success? Or are you proud of yourself for just being able to recite your 5 bullet points for where you want to be in 5 years? What about those of you who think about the future and can't actually remember what you want? If you're a part of the last 2, then you better get your tools and start working on that path so you can also start thinking and talking in decades. It's the long-term thinking that builds wealth, okay? Not this living day-to-day on autopilot kind of life. Number 8, they prefer creation over consumption. Now, you're never going to be rich and successful if your social media time is more than 1 hour per day. That 1 hour is all you need to create the content to promote yourself and your business and to respond to the people who support you. Then, log off and create. If you're staying there for longer than an hour a day, you are a consumer, and consumers do not get rich. How can you make money when you spend the majority of your time gobbling up the distractions that people are feeding you? In the modern world, the first step to building wealth is to kick that screen time addiction. Number 9, they're obsessed with their work. Now, people who build real wealth, they don't just work hard. Work isn't something to push through or to escape from. It's something that pulls them in. There's an obsession and a level of focus that never really switches off. Even during their downtime, they're thinking of ideas, talking to people to get feedback from them, or making connections that they can use later on. The people who just show up, do what they need to do, and count the hours until they can stop, they've got the mindset that will never lead to anything extraordinary. The ones who break through are the ones who disappear into what they do. Everything in their life bends around that obsession. The days stretch longer, the weekends disappear, and there is no burnout. Energy comes from momentum. Mastery is what keeps them going, not some distant finish line. And by the time others notice, it's already too late to catch up. Number 10. They pursue financial stability at all costs and before riches. Now, the most successful people in the world seldom start off wanting to make hundreds of millions or billions of dollars. They either start off wanting the world in some kind of big way, though that's usually a smaller percentage, often the narcissistic type of rich person, but the higher percentage group starts off just pursuing financial stability. That's it, so simple. So they look for the jobs that can pay them the most money and something that's easily accessible to them. Once they've got the bills paid and some kind of safety net, then they start taking the risks that the majority of people will avoid. Wealth comes from stacking small, smart moves until there's a foundation strong enough to take real risks. Once that base is secure, the entire game changes. You stop making decisions out of fear, and your energy shifts from survival to expansion. From that position, real wealth starts to take shape. Not in a frantic scramble, but in a steady, unstoppable climb, and that consistent, sustainable growth is what we guide you through on the Alux app. It basically acts like a board of advisors right in your pocket. There's daily coaching sessions and curated expert lesson collections, like our Money 201 course, all about accelerated wealth building. By compounding knowledge like this every day, you're setting yourself up for success, and I'll be right there with you in the app every step of the way. As a little bonus, if you download the app and scan this QR code on screen, you'll get 25% off the annual membership. See you on the inside. Number 11. They always had multiple jobs. If you've never had more than one job at the same time in your life, you are not going to be rich. You'll never know the freedom you get from having multiple paychecks. Now, having 2 or more full-time jobs is still trading your time for money, so you'll always reach an earning ceiling. But the experience of multiple payments coming into your account pushes you to keep finding ways to add more to it. The details of these jobs don't matter, okay? What matters is the habit, the instinct to keep money flowing from different directions. That's why losing a job, getting a pay cut, or hitting a rough patch never takes them out. They don't panic when the stream dries up. There's always another one running. That kind of thinking compounds over time. It starts small, just a way to make a little extra cash. But eventually one of those income streams turns into something bigger, but you'll only get there if you build the habit. Number 12. They focus 100% on their strengths and ignore their weaknesses. Now, if you want to be a better person, focus on your weaknesses. If you want to be rich and successful, focus on your strengths. Society teaches us to balance the idea that success comes from being well-rounded, working on your flaws and turning your weaknesses into strengths. That's a slow path to mediocrity, okay? There's no time to play that game if you want to get ahead. You have to double down on the things that give you an edge and on the skills and talent that make you stand out. Your time is more valuable when you use it to sharpen the things you're already good at, rather than working on things that maybe you just don't have the aptitude for. Ignore your weaknesses until it actually becomes a barrier to your success, because the world rewards specialists, not generalists. A world-class athlete doesn't waste time trying to be a great accountant. A billionaire entrepreneur isn't spending hours trying to code if strategy and leadership are what make them unstoppable. They understand that success doesn't come from fixing every flaw. It comes from making their strengths so undeniable that their weaknesses don't even matter. Number 13. They don't get embarrassed very easily. Now, embarrassment is the cost of entry to success, okay? People are gonna laugh at you, mainly through jealousy, but at the same time, it'll feel like they're laughing because you're a failure. They're jealous that you have more belief in yourself than they'll ever have in themselves. Embarrassment is one of the most effective ways to keep people stuck. It plays on the fear of being singled out, of looking foolish, or standing out for the wrong reasons. So if you want to be successful, you have to push through that. Nobody wins at anything important without looking stupid first. Every master was a beginner. Every expert had a phase where they just got things completely wrong. The sooner you learn to ignore other people, the faster you will reach your goals. Number 14, every thought is followed up with immediate action. Now, ideas don't mean anything without action, and the sooner you act, even on the smallest things, the more you program yourself to act on the bigger things too. Like responding to messages immediately, booking an appointment the moment you think about it, and following up on something the moment the thought pops into your mind. The quicker you let go of the need to do something perfectly and the perfect time, the easier it'll be to stop stewing on your ideas and start taking action on them. If you can do it now, then do it now. Every time you act immediately, you are rewiring your brain. Instead of associating new ideas with delay, doubt, or procrastination, you start to associate them with momentum. The habit of action compounds over time, and before you know it, big things start happening, not because you waited for the perfect moment, no, but because you took that first step before the hesitation could stop you. Number 15, they fear being stuck far more than they do failing. Now, the stagnation is the real nightmare for these folks. For most people, the fear of failure is what keeps them from taking risks, making moves, or putting themselves in uncomfortable situations. But for the folks who end up wealthy, they fear something far worse. The idea of being stuck in the same place year after year with no progress, no growth, and no escape. Every mistake can be corrected, okay? Every failure can be recovered from, but lost time is never coming back. That's why they take risks that other people avoid, because even if they do fail, at least they're still moving. At least they're still learning. At least they're still alive. And that's all from us today, Aluxer. We'll see you back here next time. Until then, take care, my friend.